What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to my YouTube page. I'm MrCentralDriver, and today we have a very special bike in front of us. We have a bike that has a huge battery if you're looking for range, and it has a 2,000 watt motor in the back. This is called the Laifook Thunder, and let's get into the specs. Now, this bike has a claimed top speed of 45 miles an hour. The range that you can get on throttle only is anywhere from 100 to 120 miles. If you use pedal assist mode, you're getting up to about 180 miles of range. This is what the website claims. Charge time is 3 to 4 hours because it comes with a 15 amp charger to charge this massive 50 amp hour battery. It has a very unique way of coming out where it kind of slides off to the side. You need both keys to unlock the mechanisms on both the front and the back, and it basically just slides out after that. You can charge it from the very top as well. It does have a little clip that holds that charger plug in place. Moving on to the back, the motor is 2,000 watts. It is a 48 volt bike with a 45 amp current limit controller. You have a half twist throttle, 7-speed Shimano up front, nice huge display. This bike is also listed as IP65 water rated. Your tires are 20 inches by 4.5 inches wide, 180 millimeter rotors up front with 2.3 millimeter thickness, 4-piston hydraulic brakes, nice LED headlight up front and LED tail light in the back with turn signals in the rear as well. Now, you probably have already noticed that this bike is a 2-seater, but if you aren't gonna bring anyone with you, you can remove this thing. There are 2 bolts right here and there's 2 bolts on the other side. The only thing you're gonna have to figure out is the rear brake light is way back here mounted to this part, so you're gonna have to figure out how to reroute that light so you have an actual brake light in the back so people can see you. It's cool if you do use the seat in the back though. You do have pegs back here. They do fold down and up out of the way, and then I'll show you guys how I look sitting on it. I am 5'9" and my feet are completely bent. This is a very low seat. I believe it's 31 inches from the ground to the seat, so you shouldn't have any issues if you're a short person. But keep in mind though, this bike is very heavy. It's around 150 something pounds, so just keep that in mind. I'll put it on the screen so you guys can see how heavy it is, but it is a massive bike to move around. It definitely is, especially with this battery. Like you're not gonna be hauling this thing everywhere you go. Let's quickly do a walk around of this bike and show you guys some stuff up close. That is the brake light in the back. You got a little cable going there. That's how it looks underneath the seat. You definitely need to have this clearance because when the suspension does come down, you don't want it to come so close to that fender. So I like the fact that they have this all open down here. Also, I need to tighten this. Mine came a little loose. So just make sure on that if you guys do get this bike to make sure you check your bolts on the tail light. And then your nice suspension right here. It's budget suspension. There's really no adjustability on it, but it does have these little things right there so you can definitely feel a little bit more comfortable in riding. 2,000 watt motor back here, your 7-speed Shimano. Here's a closer look at your pegs right here. They're pretty nice because, you know, it's gonna feel comfortable when someone puts their feet on there. They're gonna feel really nice. This is a plastic fender, by the way. This is not metal. And then moving over here, it has a little bit of rivets on the side. It feels like real leather, but I don't think this is a real leather seat, but it's really glossy. Really, really glossy. And again, if you want to remove this thing, it does sit a little higher than where someone's going to be sitting, so it's almost kind of like a Harley in a way. You can remove it with these 2 bolts, like I said, and they're the same 2 bolts on the other side. It comes right off. If you can see right in there, you can put a spot for that tail light, I noticed. So if you do want to take the rear section off, it does have that little bracket back there, so you can definitely move that tail light into that location. Moving on to the middle of the bike, you got the huge logo that's kind of in a purplish yellow that kind of has a fade to it, and then you have a standard chain ring up front. It is a double guard, so your chain should not come off, so that's nice. You can see all the bolts holding the stuff together right there. All your cables run down into the middle in between the battery and the frame, so that's nice. You're not going to see that. Here's a closer look at that headlight. Gorgeous headlight. We're definitely gonna be doing a second video at night with it, but I'll tell you right now, I've already seen it at night and it looks gorgeous. I love this logo right here. It's like a copper, oh my God, it looks so shiny and nice. I do wish it was a little bit bigger in my opinion. I don't know why. It's not like I really wanna advertise it, but it just looks so good on the bike. Like it's a very nice logo. It looks like it should be on like the front of a car hood or something like that. And then coming down here, plastic fenders in the front as well. Putting this fender on was kind of a hassle, I gotta gotta say, because you gotta line up the brackets, because there's a bracket on this side and a bracket on the other side, and there's 4 bolts that you have to put on. It's like probably the toughest fender I've ever had to put on a bike. It's not like you just put a bolt right up here, you know, like you normally do, and it just sits right there. It's really easy to do. That actually took some time, so just keep in mind when you put this front fender on, it's a little difficult. Putting the front wheel on was a little difficult too, because it is a through axle, and you have to get the spacers on this side, and also there is a small one on this side, on the other side of the brake rotor, then you have to line those up. So it was easier just to flip the whole bike upside down and put the tire on, because it was really difficult to do on the ground. So let's now move on to the left-hand side of the bike. Real quick though, look how big and wide those tires are. 4.5 inches wide. That's a lot bigger than a 4-inch wide tire. So it's gonna add some extra comfort. You can see a close-up of our brake rotor as well for piston hydraulic brakes. I love that they're in the red color. We do got a lot of colors going on this bike though, I gotta say. This is like a gold right there. If you can see that logo, it's gold, and then you got like that copper flake of the frame. The frame looks great. I don't know if you guys are gonna love this color or not. It does come in black, so just keep that in mind. But then you also have like the purple starting on the L, then it fades into a yellow, and then you got a little bit of orange, you know, on the pedals. That's just for reflectors, but that's just your standard traditional stuff. And then you got the red on the brakes and the shocks and the brown seat. So there's a lot of colors going on, so you're either gonna love it or hate it. You also got blue on the top up here, so yeah, again, so much going on. But there's also a lot going on with this battery right here. So for first, you have a handle on the top. Next to that, you have your battery capacity and voltage, and it will tell you exactly what's going on in there, but you really probably can't see that with my camera. But it's pretty cool that it shows you the voltage right on there, just in case you have the battery off the bike or whatever. This plug right here is very interesting because it uses this little clip right here to hold this down just so it doesn't come loose. If you need to take it out, it's very easy to do. You just move that and you can pull that right out, very easy. And then when you plug it back in, just put it underneath and then push it right back on. Very easy to do. This uses the same plug for the charger, so when you do need to charge it, you do need to remove this, plug in your charger, and then when you want to run the bike, you have to plug this back in. I think that's a nice design because that makes it so your battery is never connected to the bike at all times. I really feel like all bikes should be like that, I think. But one cool feature about this thing is that you can remove this whole section, and it comes out in a very interesting way. So I'm gonna put the camera down and show you guys. First and foremost, you wanna get the pedal out of the way, so make sure it's in the down position, then come over here and you push this key in, and then you turn it to the unlock position. Do the same over here, push this in and turn it to the unlock position. After you do that, this whole thing slides down. Now it doesn't feel very good, it kind of rubs a little bit, but I feel like after you remove it multiple times, it shouldn't be that big a deal. Make sure that your connection on here is taken off, and then you should be able to slide this battery out. And here's a look on the inside where you can see how the railing system looks and everything like that. Very interesting design, I gotta say, like, very unique. I've never seen anything like that. And if you look back there, you can kind of see how that is sliding on the back. Then if we come into the front, you get an idea of how it locks in place, and it's kind of coming off just a little bit. But after you remove it multiple times, I think it'd be pretty good. But just a very unique design, and especially if you need to move this bike around, it's definitely gonna be worth taking that battery out to go charge it somewhere else. And putting it in is pretty easy. Just make sure you line it up. It's just more of having muscle than anything. It just slides right in there, nothing to it. And then make sure you push this on, and you can either turn it to the on position, which I do, or just put it to the locking position, and then you're good to go. All right, so now that you guys know all that, I know it was a little bit longer than I thought it was gonna be. Let's go out there, go have some fun on the action cam and see if this thing is worth it for coming in right now at $2,200 on sale from $4,995. I said that slow because that is a huge price difference. $5,000 right now, it is $2,200. So I can also save you guys some money, links and discount codes, all that stuff down in the description. So make sure you check that. Also, the first post will probably be the links and discount codes just in case you miss it in the description. So without further ado, let's get out there and have some fun. All right, first time turn on the bike, you just hold the power button, the thing comes up. Let's go into the highest mode. I contacted the company and I wanted to know if this thing comes unlocked out of the box, and they said there's nothing you have to do. It will go the max speed depending on your weight. So without further ado, let's see how fast this thing goes. All right, here we go. Now it is not the most torquiest e-bike out there. definitely takes off pretty slow. So we're gonna need a long stretch of road to see how fast this thing goes, but this is the perfect time to do it with a full battery. I mean, it's gonna take a while for this battery to go down anyway, but the first thing I'm noticing right off the bat is how comfortable and plush this thing is. This is absolutely just so comfortable sitting on. And it looks like the display is reading a little higher than what we're actually doing. Right now it's 2 miles an hour off. Your boy should have wore some gloves, by the way, because it's freezing right now. It's about to rain, so I have to get this video shot today, and then we go back to work. And we'll take this thing at night and check it out. I'm getting a little tiny bit of a shake from the front. I think it's because that tire, it's very plush. Even though I did air it up to the recommended PSI, it kind of has like a bounce to it. But you see that we still weren't able to get up to the top speed of this thing because it definitely takes a while. So let's see if we can get up to the top speed before we reach this green light way over here. Definitely over a class 3 e-bike though, I'll say that. So if you guys are looking for something that goes decently faster than your class 3 e-bike and has a lot of range and you don't really have a lot of hills in your area, this is awesome. 35, 38 on here. Oh, little squirrely letting off with one hand. It's really that front tire I'm feeling just being a little bouncy. It's nothing crazy. It feels plush, but it's like a waterbed. But 36, it feels like it has more in it. It feels like it's still going. I'm not capped out or anything. It still wants to keep climbing. 37. Oh, all right, so I think we would have been able to go a little bit faster if we had a longer stretch, but I mean, we're going from light to light. That's a pretty long distance, so realistically, this bike isn't going to be the fastest 0 to 30. It feels like it picks up decent speed once you hit over, I would say, like 12 or 13 miles an hour, but that 0 to 10 is pretty bad. But it feels so smooth. Like, I can't get over how smooth this thing feels. Like, it does feel like a tank though, I gotta say that. Maneuvering back and forth, you definitely feel the weight. It is not a nimble light bike. It is not something that you're gonna be carving around cones and doing crazy stuff with it, like getting out of the way like real quick. Like, it feels heavy. Solid ass brakes. We'll test out the brakes later, but so far using them, oh, I love them. Absolutely love them. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is test out the 0 to 30. We're gonna stay in pedal assist 5. So here we go. We got a few people in front of us, but here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. I want to see if it reaches over 27 miles an hour before we reach this stretch of road. If it's over that, it's on the faster side of e-bikes. I'm really curious to see if it's going to do it or not. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. We're doing it. Definitely. All right. I was unsure, but no. 30, 31. Dang. Yep. 31 miles per hour. Not bad at all. Wow. That is awesome. I did not think it was going to do that because it just has such a slow start, but that thing really picked up speed. So next thing I want to do is let's test out the pedals. So let's get going first, and then let me start pedaling, and we'll see how this feels. Okay, gradual start. It was a little late while there's an accident about to happen. We almost ran into some people. So anyways, if you barely let off of the pedals, it will stop. So just keep in mind you have to be on a fluid motion of the pedals, but the pedals feel great. My legs are coming up a little high, so I would definitely say if you're over 6 foot, it's gonna feel a little uncomfortable, and if you're probably over 6'2", it's gonna feel real uncomfortable pedaling, but maybe sitting on it, you'll be perfectly fine. It's just a pedaling aspect. If you're a taller person, it might feel a little weird. I gotta say though, I kinda actually like the pedaling over the throttle because it just feels nice and smooth and it gives you all the power, and I don't know, it's perfect size for me. I'm 5'9" and I'm not having a single issue. Ooh, these brakes. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic brakes. No complaints. Normally this is where I show you guys the bike out in the beautiful sun, but all we have is a bunch of trash back behind us and a beautiful bike sitting right before we go on to our off-road test and our hill test, because I'm really curious to see if it's gonna make it up that or not. But yeah, it's a gorgeous looking bike. If you guys don't like the gold, obviously it comes in black, but it's a beefy, nice built bike. The battery coming in and out, you know, when you have to remove it and whatnot, is a little janky. They could have did a little bit better on that. Maybe put some oil or grease or something. But I think over time, after you slide it in and out, it's not going to be as rough kind of sliding, because it's definitely rubbing. But I like how they decided to do that design, and I feel like the battery sits really good in there. It'd be nice to have like a bag right here or something. Maybe you could strap right here and have a bag hanging. I did get a little bit of damage on mine right here, if you can see it. Nothing crazy, but it would have been nice if there was some touch-up paint or something, because I don't know where you would find this color code at, or where you would even get paint for this bike. If it was the black model, then it'd be totally different. You could probably just use a Sharpie, and even then you can see there's black underneath, so you probably wouldn't even have noticed that. But definitely on this bike, I noticed it. But without further ado, let's come up this hill test and see if it makes it. I'm really curious if it's gonna do it or not. I really feel like we're gonna need a running start, but without further ado, let's do it with throttle only, and then I'll come back and we'll do it with pedals only. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, it's going. Oh, it's going. It's climbing. Oh, no. The motor cut out. Definitely heard the motor cut out. It just had a big thud to it. So yeah, didn't climb it in pedal assist 5. Let's see if we can do it with the pedals. We might actually have to use a throttle. So actually, let's do the pedals and the throttle together. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. I don't think the pedals are just gonna do it. So let's see if I use the pedals. Yep. All right, it did it if you use both, but it was still struggling. So definitely not a hill climbing type of bike. You got to get a good running start at it. But if you got a lot of flat roads and just a few overpasses to go up, perfectly fine. Woo! Whoa! Oh man, all right. Now these aren't dirt tires, really made for the street. The bike overall does feel comfortable, but I'm a little worried about slipping out in the dirt. It definitely got a little wishy-washy out here because these tires don't have the tread pattern for dirt. Woo! Definitely fun out here though. Definitely hauling ass. This thing wants to just move. Oh yeah, we are jamming. I came a little bit out of my seat, nothing crazy. Oh yeah, this is a blast out here. Oh yeah. Definitely, probably, I would say like a 7.5 out of 10 for an e-bike anyway. This isn't an electric dirt bike or nothing, so keep that in mind. It's not going to be that comfortable, but it's definitely more comfortable than your standard traditional e-bike. The next thing I like to do is the turning test, and I like to see how this feels. But real quick, let me let you guys know that you can let your hands off of this bike, and it's perfectly fine if you're on a smooth road and not going super fast. However, when you are going probably over 30 miles an hour, you probably want to have both your hands on it. It doesn't feel as stable, but at a lower speed it does. But anyway, here's the turning test. Definitely wide tires, so they're not skinny. Definitely takes some momentum to turn this thing, and it is very heavy, so when you do get in a turn, that weight goes with you, and you can just so feel it. I mean, it turns perfectly fine. It's nice and smooth, but it is not a nimble bike to turn. Just keep that in mind, guys. You're definitely gonna feel the weight, especially when you sit at a light. When you're holding it in between you, you are going to feel that weight. So the next test we gotta do is a braking test. So I'm gonna do my best to stay around 28 miles an hour. This thing definitely goes over that, so we gotta kind of regulate the power, and I wanna make this as accurate as possible. So let's kind of get up to 28, there we go. There's 28, 1, 2, 3. Whoa, that was one of the best stopping e-bikes I have been on in a very long time. Check out the line. If we stop at this little line that's fading away little by little, if we stop at this line or behind, it is one of the better stopping e-bikes. You do not have to worry about stopping this bike. Even with how heavy it is, at being, I think it's like 156 pounds, it stopped with no problem. And that is a good thing because heavy bikes are hard to stop, and they did a fantastic job with these brakes. I'm loving it so far. And let me give you guys some quick details too, is that I have this compression. It was like 3 clicks from the factory bottom, and I'm also 162.7 pounds. I weighed myself today, just so you guys get an idea of how much I weigh as I'm getting these speeds and how it's picking up and all that kind of stuff, just so you guys understand, because if you're 200 pounds, it's gonna be a little slower. But if you're 120 pounds, it's gonna be a little faster. We out. We out. Oh yeah, transitioning from the street to the curb, nice and smooth. And another thing you guys are gonna like about this bike is how silent it is. It is absolutely dead silent. You don't hear anything. The only thing I'm hearing is the tires, and there's really no way you can get rid of that tire noise. That's just anything. Anything's gonna make noise on the tires. You don't hear anything from the motor at all. I love it. Let's see how fast we can go through this tunnel. Whoa. Oh yeah. Definitely a heavy bike. Let's see how fast we can go. I don't feel comfortable going that fast. Woo. Oh yeah, okay, so not the best bike to go into a turn fast, not like some other e-bikes out there. I mean, I'm still going decently fast, but you're not gonna be able to fly into a turn like that, not with a heavy bike like this. It is definitely really sketchy, and it feels like that front tire just wants to turn and go straight. It wants to stay straight. It doesn't really want to turn. Next thing I like to do is we need to see how fast this thing does going downhill. I'm trying to get a start. I didn't want to stop at the light. There was no traffic coming, promise. Let's see how fast this will go. Let me close my visor. 35, 36, 37, 38, 38. The display is showing 40. All right, I think that's all we're gonna get out of this bike. Next thing I like to do is a throttle response. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. It's gradual. You can tell it's giving you the power when you hit this, but it's a nice slow curve for like maybe 2 seconds, and then you can feel all the power come in. So here we go. Do it one more time. 1, 2, 3. So I feel that power, and then maybe a 1.5 to 2 seconds, then it starts going. The next thing we gotta do is a pedal response, and I kind of felt it earlier, but let's do that again one more time. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Power. There we go. So was that like a 2 second, maybe 3 second delay? We'll do that one more time. I'll tell you when it gives me the power. 1, 2, 3. Power. Yeah, so that's the delay that you have on the pedals. Not as fast as a throttle. I feel like the throttle works maybe a 1.5 seconds faster than the pedals. But it is kind of nice because when you come up to a light and you accidentally move the pedals for whatever reason in the forward position and that sensor kicks on, you don't want the bike leaping out in front of you and you losing control and dropping it. So I don't mind that. God dang, this bus whipping it. He coming in hot, man. He is like, move out my way. Dang, I gotta be careful. Hopefully he doesn't get in the turn lane, because I think he is. I feel like he's gonna get in the turn lane, and I got some trash cans I gotta go around. Oh my God, some obstacles. Oh, this is gonna be great. Okay, we made it in between the bus and the trash can. We good. That scared me. I was like, am I gonna get stuck having the brake behind the bus, or is the bus gonna push me into the trash can? So the next thing I wanna test out is the horn, because I haven't actually pushed the horn yet, so I'm curious to see how it is. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, actually pretty decently loud. Now, it's not a real horn, and it is coming from the back of the headlight, which most of them are now because that's a cheaper thing to do. It's integrated into the headlight. You knock out 2 things in one part. Not bad though, for how it's set up. That is loud. I gotta say, even people on the bus, like if there were some kids on there and I was honking, I bet you they would hear me and probably look out the window because, yeah, that's loud. I like it. So the next thing I want to check out is, let's see what the I button does. So right now I'm on my trip and I did 8.2 miles so far on this trip. I can hit it and we can go to odometer, and that's gonna show you your total miles on the bike. And then we can go to our max speed, and our max speed on here said it was 40.4 miles per hour. The next thing when you hit is your average speed. So my average speed on this bike has been 24.9, almost 25 miles per hour. And then I hit it one more time and it goes back into trip. The next thing we should have on this bike, because it has a little walking icon right here, and we obviously know the plus and minus is to go up in pedal assist. So if you don't want to go as fast and have much power, put it in 1. If you don't want any power, put it in 0, and then nothing will work. But I want to see how the walking mode is. So if you hold the bottom button, it should walk. And let's see. All right, nice and gradual. That is not that fast, but it's not taking off from you. So that's about 2 miles per hour. Okay, it's not bad. Yeah, that's a very nice walking pace. I am liking that because some bikes that I've had, they'll take off and do 4 or 5 miles an hour and you were speed walking next to your bike the whole time. So that's awesome. The next button on here is a wrench icon, and if we hit that, you can see that the display dims down, and if you hit it again, it brightens up. If you hold it, I wonder if it does anything. So if you hold it, it doesn't do anything. If you hold the plus and minus, can we get into the advanced settings? There we go. So to get into the advanced settings, if you want to change any of this stuff, you can do that. I am not going to change anything. The main one that you're going to want is make sure this is at 62. That's the highest that you can go in P7. And 8, 9, that's all. I'm not going through none of that. We're not switching none of those custom settings. So we're just going to go back into the menu. All right, looks like I had to turn the bike on and off to get back into the main menu right here. All right, let's get back on our way. So as I've been riding, and we're getting towards the end of the video where I'm going to give you my final conclusion when I get back to the house, is the fact that all the miles I have on this thing on the odometer, if I go to it, 9.3 miles. That's all the miles I have on it since I charged the battery, and I haven't went down a single battery bar. That is absolutely wild. I mean, it is a 50 amp hour battery. This is going to be one of the best bikes for range other than the other company, and I don't want to mention any names, but they have a 60 amp hour battery on there. But also, this is priced so good. But before I get ahead of myself and say too much information, let's get back to the house. I'm gonna give you guys my final conclusion. Oh dang, look! As soon as I hit 10 miles, I went down 1 battery bar. All right, I'm pretty sure it's gonna go up after we let off the throttle, but there we go, 1 battery bar down for 10 miles. All right, guys, am I back? And man, it is cold out there. I got my Beyond Rider's jacket on right now. Highly suggest this clothing line if you guys are gonna be riding PEVs, anything, skateboards, bikes, scooters. I love it. But let's get into the bike. So it's kind of cool that we ended up having 1 battery bar down, and it was exactly at 10 miles completely flat since I charged it, which is telling me if we have 5 battery bars, that's gonna give us 50 miles of range with throttle. And I'm gonna say that might be kind of true if we had maybe a 750 watt or maybe a 1,000 watt motor and a lighter bike. But because this bike does weigh a lot and it has a bigger motor that has a peak of around 2,200 watts with that 45 amp controller, I'm gonna go on a limb and say full throttle. Using the throttle on 5, you're probably gonna get about 40 to 45 miles of range. And even then, that is still good. And if you wanna get a lot more range out of it, just put it in a lower mode and don't use as much power from that. But it is a very nice bike. It actually kind of surprised me. It's kind of funny when I get these bike things, I'm really not knowing what to expect, especially when I didn't understand the name of this, Laifook Thunder? Laifook? I think that's what it's called. It's an interesting name, I could say that. But I am blown away by how comfortable it is. It brings me back to one of the motorcycles that I had, the little electric Harley. Super comfortable, very low to sit on. Might not be for taller people if you want to pedal, but shorter people, you're gonna have no problem getting on this bike. And if you wanna bring your friend with you, you can definitely plop them up on the back. And if you wanna remove this, again, we saw back here that there is a spot to put this brake light back there, which by the way, I totally forgot to tighten that and it's about to fall off. So I gotta make sure to tighten that so I don't lose it in my second video. And I'm gonna tell you guys this right now, with my links and discount codes down below, it's gonna help my channel if you use that. I'm gonna go on a limb, I'm gonna say this is worth it. With $2,200 and then whatever you can save using my discount code, because I'm not exactly sure what the discount code is, you're just gonna have to go and plug it into the website. I think this thing's worth it. There's only one other company that has a 60 amp hour battery that's similar to this, and it's more expensive. So I'm just saying, it doesn't have as much power as that bike, but still, this is a phenomenal bike if you don't have hills. That's, I guess the biggest con is the big hills. It's not gonna do it, it's really not. You need a really good running start to hit a hill, but I think they knocked it out of the park with this bike. So I'm not gonna bore you guys too much. Everything's down below. Check it out, go to their website, tell them I sent you, ask some questions. They have a decent warranty. I looked in their book and whatnot, and yeah. I'll see you guys in the next one when we take this thing for a night trip when I take it to work, and it's probably gonna be even more colder than it was today. And we're gonna check out everything. I could already tell the light's great, but see you guys. You're true MVPs for sticking around to the end of this video. Let's go.